I'm going to show you how we can build muscle without moving an inch. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this technique is called a static contraction, or it's also referred to as an isometric training methodology. It's a type of exercise method which involves you contracting your muscles without moving your joints or levers in any range of motion at all. So for example, if you're holding a weight and you've got your arms straight in front of you, that would be a static contraction. Probably isolate your front delt, a bit of your upper traps pretty well. There's different ones you can use, but I'll explain a little bit about each just shortly. Now before I do that, remember to hit the like button. There's a few reasons why I find this particularly effective. Now it's actually Jerome Armstrong from 18 Minute Fitness who may be aware of this, and basically allows you to generate a lot of tension and force in your muscles, which of course stimulates muscle growth and strength in a fixed plane of motion, meaning nothing moves. I find it pretty effective because it allows you to sort of put out your maximum effort in a pretty safe way. Now for myself, having limited mobility in my lower back, my hips, my glutes, hamstrings, they're pretty tight. I can improve that mobility with certain exercises and stretches, different protocols, but what I found is sometimes you just can't put out that full maximum raw intensity in one given set. I found it pretty effective at reducing the risk of injury and also fatigue. The reason why I say fatigue is because when you move through, for example, a barbell back squat, your body has to find a way to keep that balance, that stabilization. That weight is on your neck, your upper traps, in order to load the body. Your lower back has to become a secondary mover, or at least a ancillary muscle group, in order to stabilize you. Therefore, it puts a lot of strain on your heart in order to stimulate the main body part which you're trying to focus on. It's usually the quads. Another limitation I found, particularly with a lot of leg movements, is that if you're squeezing, say, your hands on the handles to keep yourself in a fixed position, for example, leg extension, leg curl, leg press, what you'll find is that your blood pressure and your heart rate will actually go up quicker. Now this has been studied, and people find that it tends to increase their blood pressure by about 10 points compared to not squeezing onto those handles. So therefore I find it increases your perceived rate of exertion, but doesn't necessarily yield more fatigue in terms of the muscular recruitment. Now, as you can reach a higher level of intensity because the movement is safer, I know a lot of you guys probably focus on safety as well as intensity when it comes to training. You can really up the ante, so you can progressively overload quite easily. So for example, if you're doing a chest press, so you're in a push-up position, you're pushing up maybe halfway so you don't lock out all the way. You'll find that's going to stimulate your chest and shoulder muscles to a great degree. But what you'll also find is you can just go and go and go, meaning you can hold that position for quite a long period of time. Now, you might start off with 5-10 seconds, whatever you can do. Just aim to increase it by 1 or 2 seconds or more each session. What you'll find is you'll be able to do that as long as you recover properly between sessions. So check out some of my older videos, look on my channel, carnivore muscle recovery techniques, recovery methods, training, rest between sets, training when ill, all this sort of stuff. I cover a lot of it in extremely great detail. Now, as you can train to a higher degree of intensity, you'll be more likely to create what's known as kind of like an afterburn effect, or EPOC. So it means you can actually continue to oxidize more fat at a higher rate because you can train harder. Remember, muscular contractions require substrate in order to perform the motor recruitment needed to sustain the load. Now, when I say sustain the load, I mean to keep that load from squashing you. Now, you can actually do quite a lot of these static contraction movements at home with virtually no equipment. I've got a pretty good video coming back from about maybe 2 months before this one, and it's something like Ultimate Home Bodyweight Workout, something like that. And effectively, you can train your whole body in about 15 to 20 minutes using really good exercises that are seemingly easy. Now, when you increase the intensity, work up that time under load, repetitions, sets, whatever measurement you want to use to increase and track, That's when you find you'll start to progress much faster. So you might start with a wall push-up. You might do then a flat prone push-up. You might do a door pull. You can use a towel, put it around your feet, around your toes, pull it in a fixed position and just hold it for as long as you can. You might do a wall sit, so you're working your thigh muscles. There's lots of ways to do it. Now, what I'd probably suggest to most people is to use these alongside your normal training, assuming you can still recover from upping the ante. So for example, you might do your leg press in the gym, then you might move straight into a wall sit. Now, if you go from one exercise to the next, the difficulty level of that wall sit will be really, really tricky. It's going to be really hard to do. So don't be surprised if you get 30 seconds at the very beginning. You can progress over time. I suggest to a lot of people to just do the very bare minimum in order to get the most benefit from training. Now, I know a lot of people out there that say, I do 40 sets per workout to failure. Then they send me their training videos and I say, that's not even 5 reps in reserve. That's probably 10 reps in reserve. They're saying they're doing a set to failure, 20 reps, when they could have done 30 realistically. It's quite tricky to pinpoint to someone how important it is to train hard. And people often mistake the idea of training hard with training a lot. I can go to the gym and train for 2 hours. I can do a leg workout. Yeah, I'll be pretty sore, pretty tired. But the net benefit my body will be so low in comparison to just training harder and applying the right intensity to signal my muscles to adapt and grow. So it is possible to do some of these movements without pairing them or coupling them with other movements where you actually move and are mobile. What I'd suggest is perhaps add in 1 or 2 here and there throughout the week. Perhaps you've got a weak connection with your chest. Maybe you don't feel your shoulders that much. Find an exercise that you can use in an isometric contraction to target those muscle groups. That'll make it easier for you to work those muscle groups because you can feel that stimulus a lot better. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried this before and how you found it. I'd be quite keen to hear. So there you have it. Build muscle without moving an inch.
Build muscle and lose fat on the carnivore diet.